Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the February 23rd, 2016 meeting of the McMinnville City Council. I'd like to welcome everybody tonight. That being said, if I could get Councilor Hill to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Scott. At this time, what I'd like everybody to do, if you didn't have a chance to read the sign out in the lobby, if you have a cell phone with you, we'd ask you to silence them, please. And if at any time you receive a text or want to send a text or a phone call, we ask for the courtesy and respect of the others that you go out into the lobby to do that. So that being said, we'll go ahead and move on with our agenda tonight. This is the time on our agenda that we like citizens to come up and speak to the council on anything that may not be on our agenda. There are a couple little rules that we have to go by, and we ask that if the topic is already on our agenda someplace, you wait until that time. We cannot take any testimony or comments on anything that the city is currently in litigation with, or if it's a quasi-judicial land use matter, such as a zone change or something like that, we can't take any testimony or comments on that. And if the city knows that it's a matter scheduled for a public hearing at some future date, our city attorney or our city manager will let you know, and we will not be able to take any comments on that. So that being said, is there anybody who would like to speak to the council on anything that is not on our agenda tonight? Okay, come on forward. And what we would ask you do is when you come forward again is to please sign your name and pull the mic close to you and state your name for the record, please. And your address also, so we can get it on the register.
Thank you very much for giving me the time to be here in the effort to see these things through. I put some writings together. I didn't quite get a chance to transfer the last page. It's approximately about 2.5 minutes. I timed it. But it's about some of the things that are happening on the streets that we're really concerned about, the matters that we all don't want to hear about. That is the drugs, the alcohol, and the homeless in the downtown area. We get started with this. Let me find my page here. It is the voice and actions of the citizens that make the community. The leaders are only there to see that the direction of change is met with approval of the voice. Hello, my name is Mark Ritchie. My home is anywhere I park my trailer. My address is 1427 Northwest 5th Street, McMinnville, Oregon. But you may never find me there because it's not my home. Usually you can find me near the Co-op Church or some other location in Yamhill County. Some of you may have seen me on the street, some of you may know me or even know my name. When I was 16 years old, a fresh 11th grade dropout from Willamine, Oregon, I landed a job planting the trees on 3rd Street. My hands planting these trees, here today, strong, young, and able. I was a wrestler, boxer, and fully able and capable of handling a wheelbarrow, shovel, dig the hole, drop the tree in, and cover the roots. Very simple. Now, after 4 hours of work, we started cleaning up and stowing away the tools. As I turned around, the boss had his checkbook out and said, he didn't need me tomorrow. He said, I thought you was going to be a little older. He then assigned the future woodsmen of America to finish the job, planning the rest of the downtown area. I don't know who this organization was, but I figured they were like Boy Scouts, and I assume and more than likely about my age. I guess it is better to have a few individuals to do the job without cutting any checks. Wow, what a concept. Get the job done for free. Now, where we are going with this, some of the greatest workers in this community are concerned citizens who are not on a payroll and come into these chambers to have their issues or views to be addressed or tossed aside. Now, as being one who is homeless and experienced it chronically since the demise of two-parent welfare in the state of Oregon in 1989, and losing a job at KCYX On Air and account executive due to their bankruptcy, I'm seasoned and learned firsthand from streets and shelters from Southern Cal to Anchorage. I came into this arena as an advocate, one who has spent many years in and out of this town and have had my hands on many projects. And for me, I'm finished with the task of addressing the drugs, alcohol, and homeless in this town. With much pride of this place, it screams in betterment. Here my battle lies. 2 points, we're almost done. I was a little dismayed for the city council to approve the extra beds at the rescue mission despite 6 oppositions of neighbors, testimony of current conditions, and disregarding the complaints that were addressed, and go ahead and increase the concentrated body of the homeless input to that area by 3 times the amount by number. Now also putting more people at the Greystone building across Lafayette Avenue, same area, with CWISH's charge to open a center. Even more concentration of people being brought into this area. Now, it was against my input to the advisory of moving to one end of the town or the other, or even out of town with a small van to make trips to drop off and pick up people, I feel is the better choice. These people would then have what they need with minimal distractions or nuisances on 3rd Street area. Point 2, last month I was told by the mayor to give Ms. Lorenzo a petition designed to eliminate the sales of fortified alcohol in the downtown area, as a move of preservation of the downtown area to minimize property damages and try to bring police responses down on calls created by the consumption of these drinks, and to take it out of the hands of those using them and creating the problems. Now I have mentioned Voices of Concerned Citizens would ban a petition, and it was only looking out for these businesses. There was 80% of the 3rd Street business that signed that petition. They were the only people that did sign that petition. And any opposition of any ban of alcohol in the downtown area should be weighed 10 times the amount of any opposition of these people running the businesses downtown to preserve their business and their interests. I'm just going to say that I believe that the city council should take action and note to make a ban of certain areas where these people are going to be. And to think maybe later on in a couple of years where I see failure, then maybe things will be redesigned and rethought to where these problems can be taken a little bit further out of everybody's view, sight, and concerns. Thank you very much.
I'd like to thank you, Mr. Ritchie. I think you're a very good speaker. You did a very good job, and believe me, I don't necessarily care who the citizen is. We take very seriously when citizens like yourself come to us and provide us comments and testimony, and that's all on record, and we will take that and take a look at it. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Is there anybody else who would like to speak to the council on anything that's not on our agenda tonight? Okay, come on forward, JW, and again sign. Oh, I thought you were waving at me. I was going to say, here he comes again. Okay, well, you don't have to then. Is there anybody else who'd like to speak to the council tonight? Hearing none, we'll move on and move forward then. Councilors, in your packet were the minutes of the November 24th, 2015 dinner meeting and the November 24th, 2015 regular city council meeting. Has everybody had a chance to look at the meetings? Are there any changes or corrections? Remy?
This is very minimal. I'm sorry, I have to find it because I'm not to it right now. It's I almost feel like I need to apologize for even saying this.
That's all right. Take your time.
It's just 3C. If the beginning of the paragraph of 3C, awarding the contract for sanitary. I don't know if you want that type of.
You're speaking to the microphone a little bit louder so everybody can hear you.
It's typographical. It's minimal, but I don't. You know.
Okay. Well, Rose, do you have a note of that?
In just the first sentence, there is just a typographical. We're just speaking sewers, so I don't know.
Okay.
We can fix that.
Yeah. Okay.
I read the minutes. I know.
Yeah, that's right. We have a motion for that with Remy's, Councilor Dravikin's amendment. Do I have a second to approve?
Second.
I have a motion, second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, let it show with the amendment that the minutes of the November 24, 2015 dinner and regular city council meetings have been approved. That takes us into our new business, and the first thing on the agenda for our new business is a presentation on Love Your Library Month, and I'll ask Jenny to come forward, if you would please, Jenny, and introduce the people that are going to talk, or have them come forward.
I was just checking with Kate. She's got to pick up her daughter at swimming lessons, so we were trying to figure out when what order she would go in. Good evening, councilors, Mayor, Martha. It's National Love Your Library Month in February, and I thought I could come here and tell you about all the great things that the library does. But then I realized that it would be much more meaningful for you to hear from library patrons and your community about what the library has done for them. I have the benefit of hearing these amazing stories almost daily about things that have moved these people to come here to speak. And with that, I'm going to turn the mic over and they'll introduce themselves. I told them that if they sat in the front row, they didn't have to come up and sit at the table. So we're just going to pass the microphone along. Rose has a list of the speakers and their addresses. So she said that would do for the minutes.
Hi, my name is Alejandra Marquez, and I came because Jenny told me that they're going to have this meeting here, and I met her years ago at Chemeketa Community College. She was in my computer class, and she was always helping everybody there, and including me. So I'm really glad to know that she's one of the helpers now at the library too. I've been going there for years, since before I was married. That's going to be like 10 years ago. Chris, that's still there, one of the workers there, he helped me to do up my own invitations and print them out because I didn't know how to do it. So he was able to help me with that. He also helped me to write up a resume where I was able to get a job at Church on the Hill as a preschool teacher. And there I met Nikki. She works in the children's room, and she would go each week to Church on the Hill and with the bookmobile, and I would take the children down, and so I didn't have to go to the library. We could just go in. There was like a mini library, and we'd pick up books. And so it's helped us with a lot of things. And my children have all been, these are all my children, Zoe, Azrael, Juan. They've all been in the reading programs where they offer incentives where you read so much and you get prizes. We just finished one this February, which is, it's for the Love Your Library Month one, where you fill out a heart for what? Yes, it's called the Heart to Heart program. And you also get prizes. We got some swim passes and they're like coupons for where they sell the books once a month. So I'm glad about that. So yes, it's very helpful, very resourceful, and we love it, so.
I'll move to I'll sit back down here. My name is Rebecca Quant, and I have been using the library. I try to read a lot. I promise I have a lot of friends, but I try to read a book a week, honestly. And so I did the math on this when Jenny asked me to speak, and that's over $1,000 a year that I would be spending on books if I didn't have the library to go to. So that is just one component of what I love about living here in a community that has such a great library, and I work right across the street, which is even better. My favorite part probably would have been when I hosted a a Peruvian wine student from Peru, and she was in town for 4 months, and her English was really, really broken, and I couldn't think of any ways to help her with that except to go to the library. So before you knew it, she was pulling me along to intercambio classes, and I entered the bilingual book club, reading the English version. My Spanish isn't that good, but it was a lot of fun, and it was really fun seeing her English improve through renting all of the movies and all of the books on tape. It was, I would honestly say, her English was tenfold by the time she left in 4 months, and it was 100% due to the library, so I just really appreciate that.
Good evening, City Councilor and Mayor and honored guests. My name is Kate Miller. A few weeks ago, I was asked by Miss Jenny if I would talk about what a benefit that my family and I get from this library. I had no hesitate to say yes to her, and I would like also to talk on behalf of my daughter about the library. I have been coming to the library since 2009. When my daughter was 2 years old, she loves reading. I used to buy her tons of books. Unfortunately, I had to stop because it cost so much. I was looking for another source to get my girls' books. It come to the point that library was the best option, and I am so glad that I walked to that place. First, I would start at children's room. My girl was excited. Her jaw dropped when she saw tons of books and other materials. I remember we checked out books, about 20 of them on that day. Now my girl is in first grade. Her reading skill is quite high. I give credit to the librarians in children's room for her success. It was become routine for us to visit the library 3 times a week. The librarians are so friendly to the kids. They all remember the kids' names. That impressed me the most, because someday I forget what my husband's name is. Then I decided to start food truck business. Of course, I need help in computer and internet use. The staff on the adult section was very helpful and patient to teach me how to work on the computer. For the last 2 months, I was there almost every day. Yet, they still strove to help me when I need with friendly manners, and I am so deeply thankful for that. My daughter and I love this place. In my experience, the library and staff here are an asset of the city of McMinnville. This place means so much to us. I proudly to say this is a second home for us. Thank you, you all.
Hi, I'm Hunter Kern, and I've been coming to the library since I was 10, so it would be almost a decade now. And when I first started going, my mother would take me and my siblings along because she wanted us to finally get out of the house and do something else. So since then, I've probably read nearly 85% of all the books in the teen section of the library, and probably reread books about 5 times. Well, about a year ago, I would say, I was trying to get a job, and I didn't want to just sit around and waiting, so I asked Jen if I could start volunteering there. And from doing that, kind of helped me get into that mindset of, all right, I have to be up at this time, I have to start, work at this time, this is how long I have to go, and this is what I have to do. Well, during that time, too, I would use the library's computers to help me search for jobs, and also with applications and various other things that I needed in my daily life. Well, I finally got a job, and best thing that's happened to me thus far. And then a couple of months ago, I was in a car accident where my car was totaled, and in order for me to get my money, I had to constantly be emailing my insurance company. I had to be emailing the other people's insurance company. I had to be faxing things, and I don't own a fax, but luckily enough, the people at the library were able to help me with that. And to this day, even though I still have a job, I still come out and help out, volunteer with the teen game nights, because I like, being able to be with those guys. And it's fun because, they all go, oh, hey, Hunter. I'm like, yes, finally people who are younger than me that I'm friends with. And throughout the years, I know I'm probably going to be still coming to the library, still going to be sitting on those couches and reading for 3 hours at a time. And to me, the library is like a second home to me. And it's been the best place of my time growing up. So thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for letting me speak this evening. My name is Caroline O'Brien. I moved to McMinnville, Oregon from Kansas City in June of 2009 and drove straight out here, left on a Wednesday, arrived on Saturday, came down 18, went down 3rd Street, ended up at the library. I thought, well, this is a good omen. So I've been coming to the library since 2009, and I have to say I've attended several different events there. I went to a playwriting group, which meant that I met someone who was involved with making videos through the local TV station. So now I produce a little show called Literally Literary, which is about literary events in the area. The library actually had a flyer about a writing workshop that I attended, which meant that I met other writers. So I ended up attending a writing group that met at the library. I've been to the writing convention, the Terroir Writing Convention. I've been involved with the Paper Garden. Sunday, just this last Sunday, I went to the Conversation Project presentation on disability, which was fascinating through Oregon Humanities. And then today I dropped off my piece that I wrote for their haiku contest. And, I go to the Velvet Monkey because they have another writing group now that meets. And it's just been an absolute boon for my creative and intellectual interests. So I just want to say, yay, libraries.
So we also have a video that's about 1.5 minutes long. Rose is going to play, and then we've got one more speaker. Yes, we'll see if it works. We won't. Okay. Okay. That's all right. No problem.
Hi, my name is Terry Sharp, and I'll do my best to get through this. I am a reader, not a speaker. Before I begin, I want to truly thank each one of you for your time and all you do in our community, especially supporting our local library. You see, for me, the library is so much more than a building with books. As a small child, the library became the safe place I could ask any never-ending questions and be challenged to find the answers without ever being labeled annoying or restless. My curiosity and hunger for knowledge have always been my greatest strength and at times my weakness. My earliest memories consisted of sentences full of how come or why. Blessed with family full of educators, they would politely pat me on the back and say, go look it up, find the answers. Reflecting back as an adult today, I can really see just how curious I was as a child. I've learned that invaluable lesson that none of us have all the answers, even adults. There's such a powerful opportunity exhibited to a small child when the adult can freely say and admit, I don't know, let's find the answer together. That's where the library comes into the beautiful picture. As an early teen, the library became a beacon of light for a seriously mentally ill great aunt that was brutally raped. She was never the same after that tragedy. She would disappear for days, and it became my responsibility as a small child to find her, coax her back in from the elements. Where do you think I would find her? at the library. She felt safe, and moments of clarity would surprisingly appear. Books became her whole world, and isolation her safety net. This family ritual of library roundup became my duty as a young, impressionable age. To this day, my heart pauses respectfully before fully entering a library, expecting to hear the joyful cry being found by my old great aunt. "Terry Lynn, you're here?" she would yell. My eyes have become accustomed to scanning the deepest corner nook of the libraries, where my dear old relative would be tucked in and hugged by books. I must admit she's probably responsible for my strange wide variety of books, as the only way to really bring her home calmly was to agree to let her read to me for hours back then. Today, roughly 48 years later, the library still has such a sweet meaning to me. In college, the library was a lifeline, and coffee and textbooks still are my favorite smell. Today, as a wife, a mom, a daughter, and a sister, I still treasure my library card. It's a privilege and a blessing I never take for granted. I'm a mother of an autistic son who loves to read with a second grade level. Those are challenges, and they are endless. Yet we've chosen to remove frustrations regarding reading. He knows the second we arrive at the library, he can go find the answer, dream big, and the possibilities are endless. One simple example would be from the time he pleaded a case for me to purchase a Slim Jim beef jerky stick. I told him I would if he researched it, finding out who invented it and what exactly was in it. To my surprise, within 4 days, I was held accountable, purchasing $10 worth of Slim Jims and being fully educated on the history of those little evil sticks. Another moment, my son spent 2.5 hours methodically picking out just the right DVDs at the library. To my surprise, they were all in Spanish, not to mention Spanish soap operas. I pointed out with the DVDs in my hand that there's a language issue here. To which he said, "Hang on." He ran upstairs patiently. The librarian looked at me, curious, and he proceeded upstairs only to return with a Rosetta Stone on Spanish. Beaming with pride, he was a man on a mission. That car ride home consisted fully of how comes and whys. I smiled, savoring the apple doesn't fall far from the tree and realizing it. Personally, in 2011, I set a weight loss goal, and it all started with books on health, a wonderful Hood to Coast DVD. I weighed in at 407 pounds in 2011, and not even sure where to begin. Slowly, step by step, I read everything: nutrition, health, recipes, food, exercise. I tried to change bad eating habits. Every time I'd get off course, believe it or not, I would re-rent the Hood to Coast DVD. This was and still is one of my best kept, biggest secret goals. Having the resources, materials, and support have been life-changing to me. Today, at 174 pounds, I'm still a woman on a mission. The library has created an atmosphere of focus and knowledge. I will get there, and when I do, I will never forget to thank so many that helped me be part of this journey. The library is the single mom on the internet looking for a job. It's the widow keeping busy trying to grow eggplants. It's the safe, sober place for those battling addictions. It's the place full of answers for the first family member graduating from high school or college with a dream of making it bigger. It's hope for the cancer patient looking up treatment of possible undiscovered answers. It's even a home for the homeless. Every penny poured into this area in the city library breathes, "Go, become more, I dare you." Each book whispers, "Dream big." It is with great honor and gratitude that I respectfully thank each of you for supporting such a sacred place. This community benefits from it. Thank you again.
Thank you for listening, and thank you all for telling your stories. I really appreciate it.
Jenny, I'd just in closing like to say, number one, I'd like to thank you for inviting a lot of your customers and a lot of our citizens here tonight to tell the story, because I think sometimes as elected officials, we even forget what as elected officials and as a city staff, who we are and what we provide. And I think every story I heard tonight gives us all renewed faith of why we do what we do and how come we have the kind of city we have. And I just want to thank you all who came and spoke tonight to just make the council realize just how important that our library is and what the library means to all the citizens of McMinnville. And I can guarantee you, as long as we're all here, I think the library will only get better. It's great now, but it'll only get bigger and it'll only get better. And it's all because of what you guys have said tonight. So thank you, Jenny. Okay, council, that will take us on to our next presentation tonight. I don't see Rebecca, so Rebecca, you gonna do it?
Yes.
Okay, we have Rebecca here tonight again, and she's gonna speak to us and do the presentation of the annual reviewed financial statements from the McMinnville Downtown Association. We look forward to seeing this every year and see just how the Downtown Association is doing. So, Rebecca, we'll turn it over to you.
Great. Hey, well, my name is Rebecca Quant, and I live at 620 Southwest Taft Street. Okay. All right. So good evening, Mayor Olson and members of City Council. Thank you for the opportunity to come to you this evening to present the 2014 and 2015 financial statement review for the McMinnville Downtown Association. I will be mercifully brief in this presentation, I promise. Cassie Sellers sends her regrets that she is unable to be here. So before I begin with the numbers, I thought it would be nice to do a little review of the MDA background, the purpose, and talk a little bit about the high points from our previous year. So first, let me go back. The McMinnville Downtown Association works to promote and enhance our historic downtown as the economic, social, and cultural heart of the community. So after 2 years, the Downtown Economic Improvement District was created by the City Council in 1986 after a 2-year process involving property owners, business owners, city and community stakeholders. The role of the McMinnville Downtown Association is to manage the district in partnership with the city. 2016 marks the 30th year of our partnership. So some ordinance specifics. The MDA is charged with following per the ordinance. Promotion of economic improvement by planning or management of the development and improvement activities, landscaping and other maintenance of public areas, promotion of commercial activity or public events, activities in support of business, recruitment and development, improvements in parking systems and parking enforcement. The MDA also has another very important role, which is historic preservation. We hold a membership in both the National Main Street organization and Oregon Main Street programs, which both have two very similar approaches, the four-point approach to preservation. Assisted in our goals of development in comprehensive incremental revitalization strategies based on our own unique assets, character, and heritage of our downtown. We have an economic growth through historic preservation. 91 Oregon communities are part of the Oregon Main Street program, and 2,200 communities participate in the national program nationwide. The MDA is proudly one of 7 in Oregon that is performing at the
what they call the performing level of Main Street, which is the highest level in the state. And since the Oregon program was revitalized, the MDA has received national accreditation status 6 out of the 6 possible years. The only other city to have reached that accomplishment was Oregon City. So there are a few economic benchmarks reported in the calendar year in 2015. We had a net gain of 6 businesses in the district, a net gain of 47 employees, an estimated $4.8 million invested in new construction and renovation, which is about twice that of 2014, and more than 1,800 volunteer hours that, if you monetize that, would equal 1 full staff salary. So our accomplishments. We had a highly successful Oregon Main Street Conference in 2014. The Park Ranger program, we just finished the 2nd year of that partnership with the city, part of the Urban Renewal Advisory Committee membership. We also hold a membership with the Transient Lodging Tax Advisory Committee. We received TLT grant funding for the Taste Mac wine and culinary marketing programs, as well as the TLT grant funding for UFO Festival and Farmers Market. We did receive a CLG grant funding for the historic MAC project led by me. Sorry, Cassie did this slide. Led by me. We had record attendance at the UFO Festival, Farmers Market, and annual dinner, an awards banquet. We've also increased attendance at all of our downtown historic tours. They've actually been sold out 2 years in a row, which is a really big success for us. And then one of the biggest accomplishments that we all know that we claim so well is that 3rd Street was named one of the 5 great streets in America for 2015, and we were one of the smallest streets ever to win that award. So our annual review, I will take you to your packet. I think you all received. Bernard's & Associates CPA, Kathy Bernard's firm, has been doing our annual review and tax preparation since 1999. We hold a strong financial position at the year end. As you can see, if you open up your page to page 2, our total current assets are just under $97,000. We own the Cosine House free and clear. Our deferred revenues, halfway down the page, is roughly $34,730. Most of that was recognized at the beginning of the current fiscal year. And then our operating reserves are holding at about $11,400. They're not as high as we would like. That was because we used $10,000 of that fund to help pay for the Park Ranger program, and we will be replenishing that. So our sources of income. Promotions and events is a huge source of our income. We also get 21% from the DEID assessments, 11% comes from membership dues, 8% from meetings and conferences, though I do want to say, before you look too hard into these numbers, I want to point out that these figures do not include grant funding, because that is money that we won't typically receive. And it skews our normally, we have a $260,000 budget. Also with meetings and conferences, that 8% is skewed because we held our conference here in McMinnville for Oregon Main Street, which is not common. 7% of our income comes from city and county contributions, 9% from donors, 6% comes from the Cosine House rent, and 4% from other income. So our use of resources, 39% goes to personnel, 23 for promotional, 12 for meetings and conferences, 11 for administrative expenses, 10 committee expenses, and 5 for the Cosine House expenses. So kind of looking forward, we have a dedicated stewardship for the future. We have a fiduciary responsibility for a $260,000 annual budget. We're in charge of economic development and planning for that, historic preservation, design and beautification. We hope to increase membership involvement in education, and then of course, taking care of Oregon's favorite Main Street. So any questions?
Any questions for Rebecca at all? Larry, you have any? No.
I have a question.
Sure, Kevin.
So on one of your slides, you talked about your reserves not being where you want them to be. What kind of reserves are you looking at having, and what's your goal down there?
We took about $10,000 out of our reserves to kind of start up the Park Ranger program. So typically we'd be sitting at about 21,000 rather than 11,000.
That's a percentage, or what percentage?
Of our budget?
Yeah.
For the Park Ranger reserves?
No, What's your,
Total
what's
reserves you'd
reserves,
like
what's
to
the
have,
percentage of
like
your
to
overall
have.
budget?
Oh, that is a great question. Well, 260,000, so was that roughly 10%?
Okay, thanks.
Okay, any other questions? Remy, you have any? Rebecca, thank you very much. You know, if I remember back, as long as I've been in city government, I believe that MDA was one of our first strategic partnerships that the city formed, realizing that we wanted to turn it over to other people to develop and maintain our downtown area and be supporters of that. And if you look at the Cosine House now compared to when I was on the fire department and it came within a day or 2 days of being burnt down, and you look at that jewel now, and so I think the MDA has done a great job, Cassie and yourself and those that came before you, and I think hopefully the partnership will continue to grow. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Counselor, that takes us to our third item of new business tonight, and that is our video highlight report that we get every year from McMinnville Community Media, and I think Jerry Eichten, the director of MCM, will be doing that for us. Welcome, Jerry.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, everyone. I'm going to take just a minute and get reset here.
They've come in and done some sound system on the heating controls. Yeah, it's really good, man. Before you can hear it, I'll pass that along.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I am Jerry Eichten, the Executive Director of McMinnville Community Media. The Cable Access Management Agreement that the city has with MCM invites us to periodically share with you highlights of what's been going on at our operation. So thank you for this opportunity to talk to you about what's happening at MCM Television. I'd like to start with a few slides, and then I've got a couple of short videos that will show more about the role that MCM plays in McMinnville. So, a good place to start is with our mission. We help our citizens create community through technology. We do that by offering communication opportunities, tools, and training that help people share their local voices through local television. Our guiding values include civic involvement, localism, community partnerships, inclusiveness, and community education. So that sounds pretty good. How do we do that? We administer McMinnville's community cable TV channel. Programming televised on MCM TV is seen in most cities in Yamhill County on Comcast's Xfinity Channel 11 and in McMinnville, Newburgh, and parts of the Portland metro area on Frontier's FiOS Channel 29. Our TV station telecasts 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and McMinnville residents are able to place non-commercial programming on our channels free of charge. Our primary goal is to help local individuals and organizations use television to communicate their message and to use tools to create and share their own TV programming. Help comes in the form of workshops, training sessions, technical advice, and general project guidance. Our studio and office is open to the public 29 hours each week for recording, editing, dropping off shows, checking in and out gear. We accept ready-made programs from local program providers and also offer many production tools to create your own video, including portable gear, a 4-camera high-definition studio, editing suites, recording equipment, dubbing facilities, and a message board that's proven to be a very popular, easy, no-cost way for people to use community McMinnville, to use community media in McMinnville. So where does the programming come from? Well, most of it is done by local folks here in McMinnville. About 75% of the programming that's on is done by local folks. We help interested people produce their own shows. We don't do it for them. We don't crew things. We don't get terribly involved in the editing. We will help. We'll get people started. We'll kind of push them in the right direction and kind of help them out when they need it. But all in all, we don't do the programs for people. There are some programs that we will do, and that, according to the little pie chart, is about 15%. Things that we get involved in, like the council meeting that's being televised here tonight, or occasional local events staff will do, or more typically we will have staff work with some volunteers. We'll get together on some little larger projects, parades, graduations, sports telecasts, things like that. And then another 10% is outside programming that helps fill our schedule, educational programming, entertainment, arts programming, and the like. So that's who we are. A brief history. Back in the year 2000, some interested citizens worked closely with the City Council as the cable franchise with TCI was expiring, was up for renewal, and that opened the door for a big shift in how local TV in McMinnville was operated. An agreement was hammered out to transfer responsibility for local access TV from corporate control by the cable company to local operation by McMinnville Community Media, this newly formed nonprofit organization. And that citizens group made up much of the initial board of directors of MCM, and in July 2001, the city formally awarded the task of managing local TV to MCM. And one of the early tasks for the new board was finding a home for the studio, rented space in the former Tanger Outlet Mall in the summer of 2001. And just for fun, I pulled up a couple of photos of what that studio looked like soon after the move in. It was a little bit disorganized, and as you can see, there was some opportunity to do some organizing there. But it was our first official home. Other key dates for our organization: in 2001, we hired our first employee that was an executive director, who happens to be me. In 2005, we got our final determination of our nonprofit status. And as we were in rented space, MCM had been looking for a longer-term solution for our occupancy. And after we looked at quite a few different options, in 2009, our board authorized the purchase of commercial condominium space in the Village Quarter building on 3rd Street. And in 2010, construction of our new TV facility was done, and we moved in December of 2010. 2013 was a big year. The city renewed MCM's management agreement for another 10 years. And another big event in 2013 was that we were able to pay the remainder of the building purchase and construction costs, so we became mortgage-free at that point. It was certainly a big step for the organization. So that's a quick summary of who we are and where we've come from. So now I guess I'd like to move into a little bit more recent news about MCM. Most of our resources for several years went towards the building project, the building expenses. But once that was paid off, we could focus on upgrading technology, which had lagged behind a little bit because money was being used elsewhere. So we have focused quite a bit on improving some of our facilities and technology. We put in new high-definition studio cameras, replacing some old standard def equipment that dated back to 2002. We did a renovation of the studio control room, took out a lot of equipment, put in some wonderful new stuff that doesn't take up as much space. It left more room for people and training. We have added new portable cameras with high definition quality, memory chip recording for people to take out. And we also upgraded the hardware and the software that people use to edit programs. We have had a lot of fun with the green screen. This was a very low-cost project, just a can of special green paint, and the new equipment allowed people to do green screen production, digitally inserting images on a green background. And there's a picture of Roman Martinez shooting a scene from one of his movies in the Second Saturday Film Club. One of our biggest, well, it was the biggest project happened last summer with the replacement of the entire heart of the TV station, the control system, the media server that plays back all of the programming on the channel. It offers a lot of benefits. It's a more stable, widescreen signal. We increased by 15 times the storage capacity that we had for high definition programming, and it made for much more efficient handling of digital files. So the TIGHTROPE is the brand. It's the TIGHTROPE media system. It's better for the viewers. It was certainly better for staff. It was much more efficient for us to work with, and it has had the benefit of being better for program providers as well. It moved us more into a modern way of letting people bring programs in rather than them having to burn DVDs, which we would then have to encode, and it was kind of a cumbersome process. Here's Ty Hegna from St. John Lutheran bringing in their weekly church service just on a flash drive, and he can download it right into our system through a little workstation in the lobby, and it's been really very successful. We asked program providers, what would you like, what would help, and they told us very clearly that, you know, something that worked a little bit more efficiently was what they wanted. Another benefit of the program system, announcements, program listings are improved. They're easier to handle, slide information. It's a crisper look. It's the HD screen size. We can schedule start and stop dates for announcements, and the system automatically generates program listings throughout the day, where before that we would have to get into the system numerous times during the day to improve it and update it. And here's just a few examples of some bulletin board announcements for things that happen, and it's a very easy way for people to share information through the bulletin board. We also got some updated tools for staff to use, some equipment and editing gear. The installation where we are right now, the Civic Hall installation, was part of the 2013 renewal agreement. MCM purchased this equipment and had it installed, the video system that's here in this room. We did some minor upgrades to our production van, our TV station on wheels. We still have some more to do on that. And I think our newest technical project has been a miniature portable production system. It's that box there on the right in the photo. We used it for the first time when we televised live the Santa Parade. And it's a little hard to make out in this photo, but there is a very talented announcing team of Eve and Rick there on the right, announcing the Christmas parade, the Santa Parade. We've also used it for a Christmas cantata choir just used it again last week to televise basketball games with help from some of the students at McMinnville High School. So that is the update, heavy on technology right now, but at its heart, we like to think of MCM as really being a people place, not just an equipment place. And the goal of all of our wonderful board members and our volunteers and our staff is to help people use technology and to try to put people in the picture. So I just wanted to give a little bit of credit to Linda Philippi, who just last week wrapped up her 19th year of hosting Arts Alive, a local television here in McMinnville. She is stepping down as the host of the show. It's been a production of the Yamhill County Arts Alliance, and hopefully they will come up with a replacement for her as host. But she has certainly been somebody who has used and their organization have used community TV very, very effectively over the years. Since I don't seem to be able to talk much anymore, excuse me, that's a good time to move into a highlight video that I wanted to share. We were not able to bring people in person to talk about our organization, but we do have a video that will share some of the thoughts of users on MCM TV.
I think McMinnville Community Media, MCM TV, means a lot to community.
It's a membership organization in terms of support, training.
It is a way for us to introduce ourselves to people that are new to the area.
Being able to have the professional help from the people that work at McMinnville Community Media has been very beneficial.
It's just been really nice being able to work with these people.
It really made a difference to be able to come down to MCM and be able to show it to a human being, not on a phone, not on the internet, but on a human being.
Because when I feel like I'm stuck, I can ask a question.
It allows for diverse thought. It allows for different kinds of programming. The range of programs that you can do as a community producer here range anything from videotaping meetings to going out and broadening your skills in television production.
Okay, I think maybe it's true that a lot of people are not really aware of what it means to be a part of the MCM community. You can volunteer to help with programs.
It allows for people to really come in and be trained on the cameras, the switching, the editing. It gives them a format to do the kind of programming that they want to do.
And I would tell you this, that there's lots of ways to get involved.
In terms of the range, MCM allows people to experience. It's great.
Whether it be a sporting event or graduation or interview type show, green screen, city council, it allows for a lot of things that are happening in Yamhill County to be viewed. So it brings us into community even better. Local voices, local television is really important. It allows for different types of programming. It really gives a blend of what's happening in community along with many other things and aspects of our lives here in Yamhill County.
Well, I think community media is very important. It's an access, it's available for anybody, any ages, any skill level.
Place to bring shows.
There's opportunities that put a good package together, not only for myself, but for the community here.
Volunteering with them has been real fun too. It's a lot of great experiences, and it's even gotten me a job at one time recording a documentary.
We utilize this service as an ability to have our people that are currently homebound
have the ability to see the worship services on a regular basis.
It gives you an opportunity as a community producer to handle an entire program yourself.
MCM is a wonderful place to come because they'll not only be very supportive, but also help train you and your crew, give you lots of great ideas.
If they want to produce a show and they need help, all of those things are available.
It allows for a lot of things that are happening in Yamhill County to be viewed. And it really uplifts the community.
It's an open forum for everyone to have a voice. And I think that's important because it doesn't matter if you want to be socially active or if you want to be into the arts. You have this forum to be a part of it.
And it just is a wonderful piece of democracy. It's the old soapbox in a town square. Those are drying up and hard to find. Every public access television station is one.
So that was a very quick look at who we are and some of the people that are involved. Phil Guzzo, who's in the control room here tonight, did a wonderful job putting that together. And the last little bit that I'd like to share with you is, nobody uses that station, right? Well, that's not true. A lot of people do. So the list would have been longer if we included individuals, but we just went with groups for that list. We try to always maintain a high level of customer service and satisfaction with everybody that's associated with MCM. So in closing, on behalf of our board of directors, I want to say thank you for the continued trust and confidence that city leadership has shown in MCM for our now over 15 years. We've grown up a lot in that time. We're very happy to be a conduit for civic dialogue in McMinnville. and we pledge to do the best we can to responsibly manage the resource that you've entrusted to us.
Any questions of Jerry?
I don't know a question, but I just, Jerry, I can remember back at the beginnings, you know, a number of us have been around for a number of years, and, you know, when struggling to even have a place to be and to see where you are today and the quality, but more importantly, I think, is the connectedness that you talk about in the community, and to know that is just another way that people can enhance themselves but volunteer. And then I'll step outside of our conversation. I'm so excited that MDA was here, Rebecca and Kyle, and talking about, you know, your volunteer boards and all the things that are happening there. And then Jenny with the library. You had participants talking tonight, but we also know that you've got Friends of the Library and the Foundation that are just a stalwart dedicated people to volunteering. So it just comes back to the fabric of this community of volunteerism. We all work together to make this a great place to live, and all of you just keep up doing what you're doing. I think tonight has just been phenomenal.
Thanks, Scott. Any other comments, questions around council? Jerry, thank you very much. If I can only remember back 15 years when we first started across the street from Mac Prescription Shop was, and the lights flashing and bulbs blowing up and power going out, to what we have now. And 15 years may seem like a long time, but in all reality, it's not. And you've done such a phenomenal job, and I just can't believe, with your talent and everybody else's talent, your staff, that we've been so fortunate to be able to keep everybody around, that especially you, that's made it such a success that it is. So thank you very much, and make sure you tell all your volunteers and producers and your staff thank you for us.
Oh, all right, thank you.
All right, we move on forward, councilors. We have two resolutions on our agenda tonight. The first resolution authorizes the approval of intergovernmental agreement of right-of-way services, and that's with ODOT, or Oregon Department of Transportation, for 99W and 2nd Street signal replacement. So Mike, I will turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. This is the first of two resolutions you have before you this evening related to the 2014 transportation bond that the citizens passed. As you noted, this is the agreement between the city and ODOT related to the 2nd Street Signals project. As you will recall, that is a joint project between the city and ODOT, with the city providing a majority of the funding, as well as the responsibility of the design, bidding, and construction of the project, with ODOT contributing $500,000 for the upgrade of the traffic signals. We have an existing agreement with ODOT that outlines those responsibilities, and one of the conditions of that agreement is that we enter into a separate right-of-way services agreement that outline the roles and responsibility for the purchase of property for the project. What you have before you this evening is a resolution authorizing the city manager to sign the right-of-way services agreement for the project. And then as the project moves forward, we'll use that agreement as the template for acquiring any necessary right-of-way and easements for the project. So unless there are any questions, I would recommend that the council adopt the resolution authorizing the city manager to sign the right-of-way services agreement.
Thank you, Michael. Do we have any questions, Remy? Let's start with you.
None at this time, Mayor.
Scott?
Nothing we didn't go over
Okay,
at dinner.
Larry, Kelly, Council President Jeffries. We have, hearing none, then what I'll do is I'll entertain a motion to approve resolution number 2016-9, authorizing the approval of an intergovernmental agreement for right-of-way services, and that's agreement number 31156 between the City of McMinnville and the Oregon Department of Transportation regarding the Oregon Route 99W at 2nd Street signal replacement project. So do I have a motion?
So moved.
So I have moved by Councilor Drabican. Do I have second? Second. Second by Councilor Yoder. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, let it show that resolution number 2016-9 has been unanimously approved by the council. Thank you very much, Mike. That will take us then on to resolution 2016-10, And that resolution is authorizing the acquisition of property for the Fifth Street Transportation Bond Project and exercising the power of eminent domain. And we did talk a little bit about that at dinner, because I know sometimes the word eminent domain really concerns some people. But Mike, I'll throw it back to you for an explanation on that one.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. The Fifth Street project was one of the major capital projects contained in the 2014 transportation bond. As you may recall, we'll be improving the Fifth Street corridor from Lafayette Avenue to Adams Street, and we'll be installing traffic signals at Lafayette Avenue, Evans Street, Baker Street, and at Adams. At each of those locations, for us to be able to install the traffic signal poles behind the sidewalk, we'll need to purchase small pieces of property from the property owners to be able to install the signal poles. In total, we're talking about approximately 400 square feet across all of those intersections. So these are very small acquisitions that need to take place. What you have before you this evening is a resolution that notes that the project is within the public interest and the acquisition of these parcels and easements is necessary for the project, and allows for our consultant to start the right-of-way acquisition process, which will include appraisals and negotiations with the adjacent property owners. It is not our expectation that we'll need to condemn any property associated with the project, but this resolution does lay out for you the public need in case we have to have that discussion down the road.
Thank you, Michael. I think it's important to note, as we discussed at our dinner meeting, Mike brought up that it was less than 400 square feet. I think the average, when I look at them, most of them are in the 20 square feet, 4 by 5 or 5 by 4, just for the placement of poles. So if that being said, I'll entertain any more discussion. Let's start with you, Larry. Any discussion or comments?
No, sir.
Kelly? No. Kevin?
Nope.
Let's move on down to you, Scott.
Nope.
Remy? Okay, none. Hearing none, then that there is a motion to approve resolution 2016, authorize the acquisition of property for the Fifth Street Transportation Bond Project and exercising the power of eminent domain. So I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
So moved by Councilor Hill. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Council President Jeffries. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, let it show that resolution number 2016-10 passed the council unanimously. Thank you very much, Michael. That will take us then into our advice and information items. And in our advice and information items, do any of the councilors have anything they would like to report on? Let's start with you, Larry.
The Parkway Committee met last Thursday. We had some really good news. The main parties involved of I'll back up a second here. The interchange at the east end of the phase 1 of the bypass has been quite a controversial issue between the city of Newburgh and the Ladd Hill organization on Wilsonville Road, because it emptied right onto Wilsonville Road. And so it allowed and would encourage people to use Wilsonville Road to get to I-5, and Wilsonville Road is really not built for any additional traffic. So they got the parties involved. They locked them up and didn't give them any pizza till they come to an agreement, I think. But they they did a good job, and they've come up with a solution that is kind of a win-win for everybody. So the project is going to proceed. Eventually, Wilsonville Road will be realigned with the Highway 219 that goes to St. Paul, and it will come into the highway. There's about a third of a mile south of Winooski Street. So that will eliminate the automatic fill right onto Wilsonville Road, but it still allow for people to use Wilsonville Road. One of the other things that is kind of encouraging is that we sent a resolution or whatever, I guess, to the legislature last week, requesting ODOT to begin purchasing land for the next part of the bypass that would go on up past behind the hospital up to the top of Rex Hill. Because there's some concern that that property is going to start being bought up and developed. And then when we have to purchase it, why, it'll be a lot more expensive. So there's some money possibly available, and so we're asking them to begin that purchasing process. So it's encouraging. Things are moving forward, and I believe they're all on time.
I think, thank you, Larry. I think a couple things that Larry brought up that are very important is one is he mentioned the project, phase one of the bypass is a little bit ahead of schedule, about 3 months ahead of schedule right now, and it is under budget, and that money that we're under budget is going to allow for the some of the property acquisition to take place. But I think the other thing that's very important is it's a good example where an official governmental committee, and that's the Yamhill County Parkway, which was formed by Yamhill County, and in conjunction with the cities of McMinnville, Newburgh, and Dundee, and the Confederated Tribes of the Grand Round, met with the private organization, nonprofit, the Lad Hill Subdivision, Owners Association, and through working it all up, we were able to keep the project on time, under budget, and come up with a compromise that satisfied everybody. So that was very good. So thank you very much for the good report, Larry. Kelly, do you have anything?
Actually, YCOM is not meeting this month, and I did attend the affordable housing, but I'm going to defer to Remy because she basically chaired the committee meeting for the charter. So I'm going to.
Yeah, Kevin, I'll leave you to last since you're the council
I don't have
president.
anything, so.
Well, that's why I was leaving you last. I figured you would. Remy, let's turn it over to you.
We had the second meeting of the Affordable Housing Task Force. Martha arranged that we were able to conference with the city of Bend and learn from them a good deal about what they've done to address affordable housing. We collectively came up with kind of a short list of actionable and achievable items. Looked at establishing, didn't look at establishing, but established a subcommittee to come up with a charter for the group to help form it and give it some direction. The subcommittee chose to meet immediately following the scheduled meeting so that we could start that work. And as of today, we have a rough draft of that charter that identifies short-term, midterm, and long-term goals being passed around between us, so that we hope to have that in front of the council in very short order, so we can both begin some work and continue some work that's already been done. And the people at that meeting were representatives of council, nonprofit, business sector, amongst others.
Okay, good report. Thank you very much, Remy. Good work. We're looking forward to seeing the finals. So Scott, turn it over to you.
McMinnville Urban Renewal Advisory Committee did not meet in February, but again, they've been in front of us, and we know that we're moving forward. We'll be meeting in first Wednesday in March. We also had the Visit McMinnville board meeting last Wednesday, and we also had the community launch celebration last Tuesday, well attended. Then Wednesday we had the business reach out luncheon that was so successful that they held another one yesterday. On Monday, 40 businesses approximately were there. A lot of good networking. They got their message out. People really understand where we're going. Spent quite a little time going over the website, how to take advantage of where we're headed from that perspective. Community Choices had a conflicting meeting, so we're going to meet March 3rd, where we're going to be talking about the citizens survey and the direction we want to go on that, and probably an update on the city's website also.
Okay, thank you very much, Scott. And Kevin, you have nothing, huh? Our past president of the Willamette Valley Council of Governments, how does it feel not to have to do all the presidential stuff?
Then, but nothing, no developments.
No developments.
I still have to attend all the meetings.
Okay, yeah, that's good too, isn't it? So how about staff? Matt, what's happening over at the PD, Chief?
We're just about ready to have our first dual certified
canine. We purchased Tucker, as you might remember, last fiscal year. He was certified in narcotics, and he was so talented. He has been in training as a tracking dog too. So you will get 2 bangs for $1. So that's exciting. He'll be certified, or he is certified now. He's finishing up training next week, and we're in the midst of a hiring process. One of our officers left to Prineville PD, where he has had desires to go there for a number of years. His family's back there. So that's all I've got to report right now.
I did tell Prineville's Mayor, Betty Ropey, that they were getting a very good officer, but of course, he spent time in McMinnville, so that was to be expected. So, Jenny, what's going on over at the library?
I'd like to invite all of you to the grand reopening celebration of the Library Plaza on March 6th, Sunday, March 6th at noon. And I'll also send something out, paper and via email.
Thank you very much. Michael, about engineering community development.
Well, I've noticed that we have one of our amazing wastewater staff in the audience this evening, so I'll introduce him. Mike Runge, our senior mechanic at the WRF, is here this evening, and since I'm introducing him, I'd like to note for the council that he was recently recognized as City Employee of the Month for his great work at the treatment plant and his great approach to his work. So, welcome, Mike.
Congratulations, Mike. Good job. You guys do a great job out there, and it's a nice facility. So, Rose, how about you? Nothing? Wow. Well, then I guess what I'd like to do before we close, I'd like to turn it over to our great city attorney to see if he has anything to keep us legal and ethical and all that kind of stuff.
As far as I know, everything's good.
Good. And now to our city manager, Martha.
We're always highly legal and always highly ethical.
Yes, I have to agree with that.
Nothing's.
Just for the counselors, just to let you remember, the ones that come is next week. Wednesday is our council offsite retreat at the Pilot's Lounge at the McMinnville Airport. If you haven't been out to the airport yet, the Pilot's Lounge looks just totally remarkable. The fixed base operators, Ingo and Holly Nels, have done a great job out there with all the facilities. So far, they don't even look the same, and it's going to be facilitated again by Sue Disciple. And this is the first really offsite council retreat we've had in several years. So I'm really looking forward to that, and it should be a good activity. And I know some people won't be able to be there, and some people will get there as time allows. So it's going to be a great event, and I think Holly and Ingo and Holly are going to take care of the catering and everything for us. And so we're looking forward to that. And again, that's next Wednesday, and you all should have your agenda and everything. And you'll be getting this week or first next week an actual packet from Sue that has everything in it. So does the council have anything else to come before us tonight? None? Meeting adjourned.